You don't need a custom suit, Caleb. You're marrying me. That's all that matters, isn't it? Seraphina's voice, a sweet melody I'd once cherished, now grated in my ears. Besides, with your arm in that cast, a bespoke piece would just be a waste. Let Finn have the premium one. He looks so dashing in it. I stood motionless in the opulent fitting room, the sales assistant nervously hovering with my complimentary groom's attire. Across from me, Seraphina beamed at Finn, her childhood friend, as he preened in a perfectly tailored, charcoal gray suit, the very one I had paid for, under the impression it was my groom's wear. My gaze drifted to the mirror, where Seraphina, radiant in her flowing white gown, stood arm in arm with Finn. They looked breathtakingly compatible, a vision that twisted the knife already plunged into my heart. My world, built on years of shared dreams and sacrifices, shattered with the sharp clarity of glass. The warmth in my chest, a constant ember of affection for Seraphina, extinguished instantly, replaced by a chilling void. Without a word, I pulled out my phone. A quick message to my family's legal team. Cancel all existing and pending collaborations with the Sterling Group and the Thorne Family Ventures. Effective immediately, the reply was swift and concise. Understood. The sales assistants, oblivious to the silent drama unfolding, continued to gush. Oh, a match made in heaven. You two are simply divine. What a stunning couple. A lifetime of happiness to you both. Seraphina blushed, a coy smile playing on her lips. Do we really look that good together? She murmured, her fingers delicately adjusting Finn's lapel. What kind of boutonniere should he wear, do you think? Maybe an orchid? He loves orchids. Finn gazed at her, his eyes brimming with a tenderness that should have been reserved for me. Whatever you love, my dear, I love too. I flung the complimentary suit jacket onto a nearby velvet couch, the cheap fabric rustling indignantly. Keys jingled in my hand as I turned for the exit. Seraphina's brow furrowed. Where are you going, Caleb? Weren't you supposed to help Finn settle into his new apartment today? Don't tell me you forgot. Finn, her childhood friend, had returned to Viridian City recently. Seraphina, with my full blessing, had arranged for him to stay in an apartment I owned. She'd spent weeks decorating it, making it more exquisite and personal than even the marital home we were preparing for ourselves. But my mind had changed. Finn would not be staying there. I called Mara, my property manager. That apartment? It's been rented out. Finn needs to find somewhere else. Seraphina's face flushed. What are you talking about? Rented out? I told you that apartment was for Finn. I offered a hollow chuckle. The agent found a tenant willing to pay a premium. Of course I rented it out. It's a property investment, not a charity. My properties aren't just sitting there for free use. Seraphina stared at me, a sudden realization dawning in her eyes. Caleb Sterling, are you jealous? Because I ordered a premium suit for Finn and not for you? You're such a petty man. It's just a suit. Why does it matter so much? He has a better physique than you, and with your arm in a cast, a high-end suit would just be a waste of money, wouldn't it? Her words, delivered with a self-righteous indignation, were astounding. Every single expense for this wedding, including Finn's lavish suit, had come from my pocket. And she dared to lecture me on wasted money? And why exactly is my arm in a cast? My voice was low, cutting through the saccharine air of the shop. Isn't it because I fractured it saving you from a brawl? Now, that injured arm is the reason a nice suit would be a waste? I reminded her of the night Finn returned from abroad. Seraphina had arranged a reunion for him with old classmates at a bar. Finn, drunk and reckless, had gotten tangled with another man's girlfriend on the dance floor. When the boyfriend retaliated, Seraphina, in a desperate attempt to shield Finn, had rushed forward. I'd intervened, taking the blow meant for her, a broken arm the result. That same arm, now healing in its cast, had become a trivial excuse for her blatant disrespect. Finn, sensing the shift in atmosphere, interjected with a hesitant smile. Seraphina, if Caleb is really bothered, he can wear my suit. He's a bit leaner than me, so it might need minor alterations. He turned to me, his tone falsely solicitous. Caleb, you wouldn't mind, would you? The groom wearing the best man's suit, just to avoid any fuss. I met his gaze, my eyes devoid of warmth. No thanks. You keep it. I doubt you'd ever spend money on such an expensive custom piece anyway. Treasure it. Deals like that don't come around often. Finn's face instantly darkened, and Seraphina's flushed crimson. Caleb Sterling, what is that supposed to mean? Can't you speak without that sarcastic tone? If you have a problem, tell me. This was my decision. It has nothing to do with Finn. I didn't argue. There was nothing left to say. This wedding, after all, was about to be called off. Whoever wanted the buy one get one free suit could have it. I walked out, leaving the stunned pair and the hushed sales assistants behind. My phone rang as I stepped onto the busy street. It was my mother. Caleb, is this alliance with the Thorne family real? Or are you just saying things because you're angry with Seraphina? Her voice was laced with worry. I forced a lightness into my tone. I've thought it through, Mom. Everyone was right. Seraphina's heart was always elsewhere. Why should I dedicate myself to someone who doesn't truly value me? Wouldn't it be better to find someone who loves me sincerely? You mean Alara Thorne? She asked, her voice softening. Isla's younger sister? I met her. She's a sweet, sensible girl. If you truly feel this way, then I'm relieved. She continued, her voice gentler now. The wedding is set for next month. When are you coming home? If you're serious about marrying her, you need to show proper respect. The wedding attire, the arrangements, everything must be impeccable. A bitter pang went through me. I paused for a beat, then replied, I'll be home next week, Mom. After hanging up, I called the hotel and the wedding planner, canceling the ceremony scheduled for next week. The deposits could be kept, but only if they agreed to a temporary blackout on the news of the cancellation. Neither the planner nor the hotel would lose money, so they readily agreed. With everything handled, I wandered the city streets for hours before returning home. The house was empty. It was almost 10 when Seraphina finally came home. Seeing me in the living room, she smiled, settling beside me and looping her arm through mine, her voice a soft purr. Caleb, I know I was wrong. I won't do it again, okay? Look, I brought you some late-night supper. Eat up. She opened the container. Inside was steaming seafood soup. One glance told me it was leftovers, scraped from the bottom of a communal pot. You eat it, I said flatly, pushing it away. I'm not hungry. Seraphina's expression immediately hardened. She slammed the lid back on the container and threw it onto the table. Caleb Sterling, that's enough. Don't think you can play the aggrieved party just because I apologized. I brought you soup, and you're still sulking? It was just a suit. Is it really worth all this drama? Do you always have to compete with Finn? Does that make you happy? Watching her anger flare, my heart sank. Seraphina, I said, the doctor advised against seafood for my arm. Besides, I never eat soup at night. Finn's the one who loves late-night soup. She froze, a flicker of panic in her eyes, her voice dropping to a whisper. I forgot. Shall I order something else for you? I stood, a weary sigh escaping me. No, I'm going to bed. She started to say something else, but I turned and walked to my room. A while later, she showered and quietly slipped into bed, pressing against me from behind. Husband, she whispered, her voice a gentle coaxing. You're the one I'm marrying, so why are you jealous of Finn? He and I are just friends, truly innocent. If there was anything more, I wouldn't be marrying you, would I? She pressed closer, the gap between us almost non-existent. She had just showered, but I still caught a faint scent of cheap men's cologne, the kind Finn always used. A scent that wouldn't linger after a shower unless two bodies had been pressed together. I feigned sleep, saying nothing. When I remained silent, she turned off the light and lay still. But I felt the glow of her phone screen and knew she was texting someone. Not long after, her phone rang. She quickly answered, slipping into the living room, leaving the door ajar. I heard her hushed voice. It's fine. That apartment is a bit small. I'll find you a more suitable place, preferably closer to me, so we can meet up easily. Finn's voice, tinged with apology, drifted from the phone. If my own place wasn't leaking, I wouldn't dare bother you. Seraphina chuckled, her voice sweet. Why be so formal with me? Tell you what, in a couple of days, you can move into my new place, our marital home. Everything's ready there, just bring your luggage. Finn quickly protested. How can I do that? That's your and Caleb's marital home. You haven't even moved in yet. If I stay there, Caleb will be furious. Seraphina laughed. Don't worry, just move in. For the next week or two, I'll tell him not to go near the new place. You're too kind, really. If you hadn't convinced me, I would have called off the engagement long ago. He should be thanking you. Though I had already initiated the wedding cancellation, Hearing her so casually offer our shared home to Finn, and her callous confession that she would have ended our engagement sooner if not for him, filled me with a cold despair. All these years, I had loved her with my whole heart, treating her with unwavering sincerity. Yet, she could so easily give away our marital home to another and reveal that her heart had never truly been mine. The next morning, I feigned nonchalance. "Let's go check on the new house today. See if there's anything else we need to buy." She instantly looked flustered, quickly replying, "No need. I've handled everything. Besides, I had someone consult on it, and they said it's bad luck to enter the marital home before the wedding. Better to keep some mystery until the big day, don't you think?" I listened, a bitter amusement rising within me. For Finn, she could concoct such a clever excuse? I looked at her directly. "Really? Then what about Finn moving in? Isn't that bad luck?" My voice hardened. "And don't forget, Seraphina, that house is mine. If he dares to move in, I'll call the police for trespassing. Tell him to try me." Seraphina shot up, glaring at me, trembling with rage. "Were you eavesdropping on my call? Caleb Sterling, have you no shame? Let me tell you, after we're married, that house will be our joint property. What's wrong with me letting him stay there temporarily? It's not even our wedding day yet. We can just tell him to move out by then. Do you really need to be so furious?" She pressed on, her voice venomous. "Fine, so he can't stay at the apartment. Then you claim it's rented out. Now you won't even let him stay in the new house. What am I supposed to tell Finn? Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? Let me tell you, you owe Finn an apology. He was kind enough to be your best man, and you're acting like a childish brat, completely unmanly. No wonder I look down on you more and more." Her naked favoritism left me speechless. Perhaps this was for the best. At least I held no more illusions about her. Seraphina paid no mind to my grim expression, standing with her hands on her hips, her voice sharp. "So you won't let Finn stay? Fine, then kick me out too. I'll go stay in a hotel with him. When you come to your senses, I'll come back." With that, she slammed the door and stormed out. I didn't follow her. I simply looked around the once warm house, then began packing my own belongings. My bags were already prepared, ready for the move to the new house after the wedding. Now, it was just convenient. No need for second thoughts. The next few days were a whirlwind. I submitted my resignation at the company. My boss was regretful but understood, hearing I was moving back to my hometown. A colleague joked, "Going back to Coastal Haven, Caleb? Bringing your new bride with you, too. Wedding next week, then straight home. A double celebration." I offered a wry smile. "Wedding's off. I came in today to let you all know, so you don't have to prepare your wedding gifts." My smile widened, but my heart felt hollow. My colleague quickly grabbed my arm, concerned. "What happened? Did you two fight?" I shook my head. "No, I just realized her heart wasn't truly with me. Better to stop now than later. Wish me luck finding new happiness." With that, I ordered afternoon tea for the entire office and bid them farewell. "Well, I'm off. Hope to see you all again someday." Next, I went to the brokerage office, handing over all my properties for them to manage. I offered an extra 1% commission if they sold quickly. The offer was too tempting. The agents practically leaped to their feet. "Don't worry, Mr. Sterling. Your properties will be our top priority." On my final night before leaving Viridian City, I texted Seraphina, "I'm selling the house. Pick up your things when you have a moment." Her immediate reply, "Are you threatening me with selling the house again? Caleb Sterling, if you keep being so stubborn, then this wedding is off. When you come to your senses, we'll reschedule." I replied with a single word, "Fine." The wedding was off. I powered down my phone. The next morning, I pulled my suitcase from the house I had called home for 3 years. Before boarding the plane, I sent her one last message. "Seraphina, goodbye." And I flew back to Coastal Haven. My mother embraced me tightly, looking me over from head to toe, her voice thick with emotion. "You left home for years for a woman, Caleb. Was it worth it? Look how thin you've become." I bowed my head, noticing the silver strands in her hair, my nose stinging. I hugged her, forcing a smile. "I'm home now, aren't I? I won't leave again, Mom." My father, sitting nearby, maintained his stern demeanor. "It's good you're back. When you marry, you must treat your wife well. Alara, her parents and I are very pleased with her. A good family match, and she's kind and gentle." I nodded dutifully. "I know, Dad. I'll treat her well." A few days later, I met Alara Thorne, my intended fiancée. The girl who used to tag along with me as a child had blossomed into a graceful, poised, and respectful young woman. Together, we picked out wedding attire, rings, and other essentials for the ceremony. She even joined me to view our marital home, a house she had already begun to arrange from the moment she heard I had agreed to the family alliance. Watching her meticulously plan every detail, I truly felt her genuine affection. On the fourth day after I left Viridian City, I woke to a call from Seraphina. Her voice was furious. "Caleb Sterling, are you going to apologize or not? Today is our wedding day. If you don't apologize, I won't get in the car." In the background, Finn's voice chimed in. "Seraphina, don't be angry. Today is your big day. You should be the most beautiful bride. We can talk about everything at the hotel. Once you see the groom, you'll feel better." Seraphina sneered, a touch of haughtiness in her tone. "Fine. Because you said so, I'll give him the courtesy. We'll be at the hotel soon. I expect him to be reasonable then." She aimed the last sentence at me before hanging up abruptly. I stared at my phone screen, a strange curiosity stirring within me. I wondered what would happen when she arrived at a wedding that no longer existed. The Sterling family arrived early at the hotel, but as they approached the ballroom, they froze. The welcome sign and wedding photos at the entrance featured a different couple. Panic erupted. "This is our reserved ballroom. Why is another wedding happening here? Where's the hotel manager? Get him out here. What kind of business is this? Where's Seraphina? Call Caleb and ask what's going on. This is a simple matter. How could they mess it up? I told you, those two were never a good match. Not from the same league. Sooner or later, it would all fall apart." When Seraphina, Finn, and her bridesmaids arrived, they saw another wedding being busily prepared in the hall. The hotel manager, impeccably polite, stepped forward to explain. "My sincerest apologies. Mr. Caleb Sterling canceled his wedding a week ago. Here are his confirmation message and documentation. It appears there may have been a communication breakdown between the parties." A single sentence silenced the entire hall. The groom had canceled the wedding, and the bride had no idea. Seraphina, resplendent in her floor-length designer gown, looked utterly ridiculous, standing exposed in the grand lobby. "Impossible," she shrieked. "You must have made a mistake. Caleb Sterling dreamed of marrying me. He wouldn't cancel." Finn rushed to console her. "Seraphina, don't panic. It must be a misunderstanding. Quickly, call the wedding planner." Seraphina nodded frantically, dialing. But the reply from the other end left her numb. "I'm sorry, MS. Sterling, your fiancé canceled the wedding last week. Didn't you know? He said you had someone else in your heart and didn't want to delay you any further. We can only wish you and the man you love a lifetime of happiness." Seraphina's face alternated between fiery red and ghostly white. All my guests had been informed of the cancellation, but hers were still arriving in droves. To save face, her family had invited a massive number of people who were now buzzing with gossip, turning her into a public spectacle. The commotion swelled in the lobby. "What's going on? Is there a wedding or not?" Seraphina finally reached me, her voice a near scream. "Caleb Sterling, are you out of your mind? You canceled the wedding without discussing it with me." I replied calmly. "Didn't you say you wouldn't marry me if I didn't apologize?" "I had no intention of apologizing, so I canceled. Do you know my entire family is here?" Seraphina wailed. "Are you trying to humiliate me to death? All this, over a best man suit." I chuckled softly, a lingering trace of bitterness in my heart. "You still don't understand, do you? It was never about the suit. It's because I finally saw you for who you truly are." My voice was cold and steady. "At most, I canceled a wedding ceremony. Why are you so upset? I actually think you and Finn are a much more suitable pair. I've even sent over the groom's attire for you both, wishing you both a lifetime of happiness." Seraphina panicked, her voice trembling. What are you talking about? Are you insane?" Before she could finish, the suit I had sent arrived. The delivery person walked directly up to Seraphina and Finn, who was still in his elegant suit, and politely asked, "Excuse me, are Ms. Seraphina Sterling and Mr. Finn Davis present? This is the groom's attire sent by Mr. Caleb Sterling. Please inspect and accept the delivery." When the cheap, roughly woven, shoddily stitched suit was revealed before everyone, a wave of murmuring swept through the guests. "What is that, a market stall suit? The best man is dressed in high-end, and the groom in that. No wonder he's angry. Such a disparity. How could anyone endure such disrespect? No wonder Caleb Sterling canceled the wedding. Who could tolerate this? Seraphina's mother glared at her, her voice furious. What is this, Seraphina? Explain yourself. Seraphina's face burned as she stammered. It's just a suit. Why does he have to be so petty? A relative nearby couldn't hold back. You and the best man are dressed like the main couple, and you expect the groom to wear that? Who would be happy? He'd have to be a madman not to be upset. Looking at you, who could believe you sincerely wanted to marry him? I listened to the entire chaotic scene through the phone, then slowly said, Seraphina, I don't want to make things difficult for you. Let me help you explain to your relatives. Turn on your phone and project the screen onto the wall. I'll send a video for everyone to see. Seraphina's face paled with anger, almost throwing her phone. But then she must have considered that if I stepped in to explain, she might at least salvage some dignity. She told her bridesmaid to project her phone screen onto the large wall in the wedding hall. The moment the video played, the entire room fell into stunned silence. On the screen, Seraphina lay in Finn's arms. They were intimately embracing and kissing on what was unmistakably my and Seraphina's marital bed. Finn's voice, husky, came from the video. Sleeping in their marital bed like this, Caleb won't find out, will he? Seraphina purred, her voice seductive. I want to marry you. I want to spend a real wedding night with you. In my heart, you are my husband. Finn chuckled, leaning down to kiss her. The wedding hasn't even begun, darling. Tonight is still young. In truth, when I commissioned the design for the new house, my busy schedule prevented regular visits. I had installed a surveillance camera to monitor the construction progress. I never expected that after I told them Finn couldn't move in, they would secretly use my marital home as their own private sanctuary. When I went to remove the camera software from my phone, I accidentally discovered this recording and saved it as a final parting gift for her. The compromising scene exploded in the silent wedding hall. No one uttered a sound. A moment later, Seraphina shrieked, lunging to turn off the video. Turn it off. Turn it off right now. Turn it off. But it was too late. Everyone had seen everything. The looks directed at her, and Finn immediately shifted from bewildered shock to disgust and contempt. Oh my God, getting married to one man and sleeping with her childhood friend. Absolutely shameless. Looks like Caleb Sterling was right to cancel. Who could endure such betrayal? What kind of upbringing did the Sterling family give their daughter? The whispers rippled through the hall, humiliating the Sterling family to their core. Seraphina's father, Mr. Sterling, his face crimson, lost all control. He swung his hand, delivering a resounding slap. You disgrace! Don't you ever say you're my daughter again. The smack echoed through the hall, leaving Seraphina's cheek instantly swollen and red. Finn quickly supported her, his voice trembling. Mr. Sterling, please, let us explain. It's not what it looks like. Caleb set this all up. A guest cut in coldly. Set it up? Did he set you up to be on that bed, saying those things? Give me a break. Mr. Sterling's eyes were filled with revulsion as he turned to Finn. You might fool Seraphina, but you can't fool me. You know exactly why you left all those years ago. Finn's face instantly drained of color, turning ashen. Just then, Mr. Sterling's private secretary rushed through the crowd, whispering urgently, Mr. Sterling, we have a major problem. The investors from Coastal Haven Holdings, the ones who just signed the big partnership deal with our company, they've pulled all their capital. They say they no longer wish to cooperate. Mr. Sterling's face went white. What? What? They say a notice just came from the Sterling family, terminating all contracts. Mr. Sterling gritted his teeth. Get back to the office immediately. He turned and stormed out of the hall, not sparing his disgraced daughter another glance. The guests began to disperse, no one wanting to witness any more of the shameful spectacle. Only Seraphina, in her pristine white wedding dress, and Finn remained, standing in the silent hall, their faces pale. She whispered, almost to herself, How? How could this happen? He loved me. How could he just let go? Finn put his arm around her, coaxing softly, Seraphina, let's go. Let's just go home. Seraphina looked up at Finn, her eyes clouded, then slowly clearing. Caleb is gone, but I still have you. She choked out the words. Then, as if remembering something, turned to him. Finn, my father just mentioned something about why you left me all those years ago. Are you two hiding something from me? Finn evaded her gaze, forcing a strained smile. Why would there be anything to hide from you? But when they arrived at the new marital home, the sight that greeted them left both stunned. A real estate agent was showing the house to potential buyers. Seraphina's face contorted. What are you doing here? How do you have keys to my house? The agent looked at her, bewildered. Excuse me, who are you? We've been authorized by the owner to sell this apartment. Please don't cause a disturbance. We have the legal authorization right here. He pulled out the signed mandate from me. Seraphina almost collapsed. This is my marital home. Get out, all of you. The agent replied nonchalantly. You're Mr. Sterling's ex-girlfriend, aren't you? He said you broke up, he's not in a good mood, and he wants to sell the place. Why are you trying to stay in someone else's house after a breakup? The title deed only has Mr. Caleb Sterling's name on it. Don't cause trouble. He then turned back to his clients. This unit comes fully furnished, all high-end items included. Wedding photos? Don't worry, they'll be disposed of immediately. The owner instructed us to throw them in the trash, but everything else stays for the new buyers. Seraphina sank onto the sofa, her face ashen. Impossible. Caleb wouldn't do this. He said this house was a gift for me. The agent laughed, a mocking edge in his voice. After marriage, it might have been a gift. But you broke up. You still expect to benefit from his property? Finn angrily pushed the agent. This has nothing to do with you. This is a private matter between Ms. Sterling and Mr. Sterling. Don't interfere. The agent immediately threw a punch. Interfering? You're affecting my sales. Who do you think you are? Pale-faced freeloader, all talk and no shame. The two men lunged at each other, and soon the police were called. After checking the documents and authorization, one officer stated coldly, Ms. Seraphina Sterling, this apartment is indeed authorized for sale by Mr. Caleb Sterling through this agency. Please leave the premises, or we will have to take action. Another officer, reviewing the paperwork, suddenly looked surprised. Wait, this Caleb Sterling, isn't he the Caleb Sterling of Coastal Haven Holdings? This morning, the news was full of the engagement between Coastal Haven and Thorn Industries. He continued, and word has it the ceremony was incredibly lavish. Apparently, his fiancée loves roses, so all the roses for the event were flown in from abroad. Seraphina gasped, spinning around, her voice trembling. Which Caleb Sterling are you talking about? The officer pulled out his phone. This one. On the screen, an image of me and Alara at our engagement ceremony beamed happily. My bandaged arm was clearly visible in the frame. Seraphina froze, her face chalk white, drained of all color. My engagement ceremony with Alara was indeed a magnificent affair, becoming the talk of the town. I wanted my fiancée to suffer no grievances, so everything was meticulously prepared. The Thorn family was visibly delighted. Alara's older sister, Isla, clapped me on the shoulder, smiling. Treat my sister well, Caleb. Don't bully her. Seeing how thoroughly you've prepared everything, I'll consider bygones to be bygones. I took Alara's hand, looking at her with gentle eyes. I will treat you well, rest assured. I hadn't expected Seraphina to track me down all the way to Coastal Haven. When I received her call, I decided to meet her one last time for a definitive closure. I suggested a cafe, intending to bring Alara along. I had already confided in Alara about my past, not wanting her to hear it from others and misunderstand. She had just smiled, her voice light. I won't come. Who wants to listen to all that old drama? Can I just stay home and make you that rich stew you like? I chuckled. You've been making me that stew for 2 weeks straight. I'll turn into a pig if I eat any more. So, I went alone. When we met, Seraphina looked much thinner, her eyes weary. The moment she saw me, tears welled up. You never told me about your family background. I raised an eyebrow. What does my family have to do with us? She bit her lip, her voice trembling. So, your investment in my family's company, that was also you? I nodded. I had planned to tell you about my true identity, the investment in the Sterling Group, and our long-term partnership after we married. But alas, now there's no need. Seraphina burst into tears, covering her face, sobbing uncontrollably. Caleb, I was so wrong, so terribly wrong. My father just told me that all those years ago, Finn, after his business failed, blackmailed my father with intimate photos of us for money. Once he got the money, he left, promising never to return. Before he went, he told me my father forced him to break up with me. I believed him, believing he was my one true love, the one I couldn't have. In reality, Finn was no true love at all. He was just a petty, despicable scoundrel. She trembled, clutching my hand, tears streaming down her face. Caleb, I was wrong, truly wrong. Can you give me another chance? Let's start over. I'll be a good girlfriend. I'll be devoted to you. I gently pulled my hand away, shaking my head. Seraphina, in life, every action, every choice, has a price. You chose betrayal. You chose infidelity. You should understand that I can never forgive you. From the day you left me waiting in that restaurant to pick him up, I knew your heart was no longer with me. To please him, you let him move into our marital home. To fulfill your fantasy of marrying him, you made his best man's suit a custom-made luxury. At that moment, I knew there was no going back for us. Seraphina sobbed hysterically, trembling with anguish. No, it's not true. I really intended to marry you. I just wanted to indulge in a dream, before marrying you, a dream of marrying him. I know I messed up, I truly did. Can you forgive me? I know you still love me, don't you? A clear, slightly haughty voice cut through the air from behind us. Crying like that in front of my fiancé? Anyone who didn't know would think he was bullying you. I turned to see Alara. She pouted, glancing at me, then murmured, "If I hadn't come, this vixen might have swallowed you whole." I chuckled, pulling her into my arms. Nonsense. I've already rejected her decisively, leaving no room for doubt. Alara settled beside me, clasping my arm tightly, and looked at Seraphina with a faint smile. Sister, you didn't appreciate him when you had him. Now, it's too late for regrets. Good men are a rare commodity, you know. Let go once, and there's someone else's. Caleb Sterling is my fiancé now. We're getting married in a couple of weeks. Don't hope for anything more. I just hope you learn how to be a standard ex-girlfriend. I asked, half smiling, half curious. What's a standard ex-girlfriend? Alara gave me a light pinch. It's someone who acts like they're dead. I laughed. Across from us, Seraphina's face was ashen. She knew this time, there was truly no second chance. Afterward, the Sterling Group, already in crisis, plunged deeper into despair. With the investment from Coastal Haven Holdings, they might have weathered the storm. But they had lost that opportunity forever. In a short time, the Sterling Group collapsed from a top 10 enterprise in Viridian City to a heavily indebted, struggling entity. As for Finn, his past blackmailing of the Sterling family was exposed. Mr. Sterling, Seraphina's father, was enraged. Years ago, fearing the intimate photos of his daughter would be released, he had swallowed his pride and not gone to the police. But this time, he understood that if he didn't uproot that viper, the Sterling family would never be at peace. So, he directly reported Finn to the authorities. When arrested, Finn was forced to admit to the blackmail. But further police investigation revealed that during his years away from Viridian City, he had harassed numerous wealthy young women in other cities, using the exact same tactic of taking compromising photos and extorting money. The total amount he had swindled ran into the millions. Local police forces cooperated in the investigation, and the evidence was irrefutable. As a result, Finn was convicted and faced at least 10 years in prison. Seraphina, returning home, found her reputation in tatters due to the wedding scandal. In Viridian City, no one dared to marry her. To salvage the company, the Sterling family began arranging a series of blind dates for her. As long as the man was wealthy, regardless of age or appearance, and willing to invest in the company, he was deemed acceptable. I heard news of Seraphina's impending marriage on the very day of my own wedding. An old colleague, whom I had invited to my ceremony while he was in Coastal Haven for work, recounted, "You know, Seraphina caught the eye of a very wealthy older gentleman, truly rich, but more than 20 years her senior. His son is already in college. If she marries him, she'll just be a trophy wife. The heir is already chosen, and any children she might have won't factor into the succession." I simply smiled faintly. That, I thought, was perhaps the outcome she had chosen for herself, and the most just retribution for what she had done. Seraphina didn't want to marry him, but with the Sterling family struggling, she had no choice. The night before her wedding, she sat with her bridesmaid, weeping, I truly regret it. Now everything is over. I've lost everything. Hearing this, I just smiled to myself, saying nothing. Because everyone, after all, must bear responsibility for their own choices, mustn't they? On my wedding day, I stood at the altar, watching the grand doors slowly open. Alara, wearing the most beautiful wedding dress, slowly walked towards me. She carried the gentlest smile, and her eyes held only my reflection. When her hand was placed in mine, I felt a slight tremble. I squeezed her hand, smiling, and when the officiant asked, I clearly declared before all our guests, I do. A year later, Alara and I returned to Viridian City for a friend's baby shower. Unexpectedly, in the hotel lobby, I saw Seraphina again. Her belly was swollen, her body gaunt, and her face looked hollow, making her appear years older. Beside her was a man in his 50s, walking and talking on his phone, his voice sharp. Hurry up. Mr. Zhang is waiting. You're slow as a snail. What good are you? Seraphina heard my voice, paused momentarily, her eyes conflicted, then quickly turned away, quietly following the man. I said nothing, only tightened my grip on Alara's hand as we entered the hall. She smiled at the baby in the bassinet, her eyes full of tenderness. Do you like children? I turned to look at her, and before I could answer, she took my hand and placed it on her stomach, beaming. Husband, congratulations. You're going to be a father. I froze, my eyes wide, then broke into a soft laugh. I pulled her into my arms, my voice thick with joyous emotion. Thank you, my love. I'm truly incredibly happy.